content over everything.
What's it? Do you know what you're going to say at this?
Just go on as I go.
I'll ask you a question from here. Let me ask you a question from here.
Now, let me go, and then I'll just whatever.
I
thought it was an MMA fight. I came over.
It looks like I thought the same thing.
I thought, what's going on? Where's Mohammed Hijab? Where's the gum shield? You've gone from being quiet to fighting.
What's your name?
My name's David Hines.
David Hines?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just met you just now and you said that you were homeless.
That's
but
right,
you look very cheerful.
Well,
yeah? Explain us your situation.
basically, I was born just over there in West Kensington, W14, in the year 1955. I'm 63 years old. Been homeless a few times. Basically, from successive governments, they've never made enough housing for, people leaving home, for young people, for older people, or whatever. And there's never been enough hostels either to provide for them. Now, what has happened sort of in the borough where I was before was Camden, right? They had about 2,000 places, bed and breakfasts, places, hostel positions, and so forth like that. But then there wasn't, I don't know if there was aware or whatever, but the new surge of, new people coming to the country, like hundreds of thousands, right? If they got like 2,000 spaces and then 10,000 people come, those spaces disappear quickly. So they hadn't provided for it. But because of the thing with people smuggling in as well, right, it's that you can't sort of say like, we're going to raise 2,000 or 10,000 homes, new homes for people leaving home, when you don't know what the figure is, right? So if you say 10,000, then there's a million. you don't know where to start and where to stop. So a lot of people blame this government for the housing problems, but it's not so much this government, it's successive governments. One Labour government, one Tory government, and carry on like that. Nobody's really done anything about it. They're not addressing the situation properly on the street as it is. I find that the outreach come to me, and I was living in the woods.
Living in the woods?
Yeah, I was living in the woods for 1.5 years in a tent with my cat. Had my cat from 2000, 18 years old. Just recently they burnt me out where I was in West Hendon. They burnt my tent. They've done it twice. Done it last June while I was in it with my cat in there. And my cat woke me up because it wanted to eat. And then I thought it was raining. I thought, but it's sunny outside. I looked behind the tent. I saw all these flames and fire going up and everything. But just recently, when I came out, because I went back to Camden to try and raise some funds, donations, got a lot of good people there helped me with donations, But basically, I'm not on benefits at the moment because don't have an address. When you're homeless, you got hit with this thing. You could become made a third-class citizen. First of all, when you're evicted, right, that makes you into lawlessness. Basically, because when you're evicted, it makes you a vagrant, and vagrancy is a criminal offence. All right. So just by losing your house, you're a victim, and you're a criminal. So that makes you an outlaw, and you're living lawlessly from the time you hit the ground when you live to sleep. But the act itself of eviction is illegal, right? Because it's the courts and the court bailiffs and the police and the magistrates, right, who evict a person. They know the law that if they evict somebody, they make them into a criminal. They can't be a party to any criminal offence or anything unlegal, unlawful. Therefore, how can they evict anybody into the street? You know what I mean? And everybody knows from police statistics, for instance, that they say that just from walking from your house to the shop, you can be attacked, assaulted, robbed, mugged, raped, murdered, right? So they're saying that the streets are not a dangerous place, it is. They know it is. People are being stabbed, murdered all the time. They're sleeping on the door, or in a doorway, for instance, on the street. On a first, especially dangerous, most dangerous on a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. Because basically people have just been released from their prison of work, right? Where they've, servitude, where they've sort of said yes sir, no sir, free bag, full sir, anything you want, because it's so difficult to hold on to your job now. There's so many people after the same position, right? and they'll work for anything or any hours or any money, basically just to have something. So basically, they get out of the asylum and they get out on the street and spend it. Oh, I got some money, hey, everything like that. Drugs, alcohol, everything like that. And then they're looking for the love and the peace and the happiness that, everything away from, the relaxation from all that. And then what happens? They spend hundreds of pounds and don't get it. And then they don't get the love of their life, they don't get this and that, and they say, fuck this, smash that, smash the telephone box, smash the bus shelter, and the guy who's sleeping in the doorway, they start kicking him to death. You know what I mean? Some people have actually died in the doorway, sleeping in a sleeping bag, where they're helpless, and sometimes they're even inebriated, because being on the street, you just sit down in a place, if you like, and you can see people looking at you like you're a piece of crap, you know what I mean? They don't care the fact that you're homeless or how you got there.
Can we ask you if you could narrate one story within your life where you thought it was a really difficult time or unfair or something that could give us an idea as to how it is yourself being so senior have lived in the streets?
Well, I've seen a lot of worse people than myself. About 2 nights ago, because after they burnt me out from my tent in the woods, I've been sleeping on the back of buses, like that, and it gets pretty bad because you get stepped off the seat and everything. You have to sort of sleep like that, holding onto the back seat, and it's sort of when it breaks, you automatically grab it. But when I go to the bus station, sometimes, well, all the time I say this bus terminates here, and so you have to get off the bus. But after a while, I say, okay, I've got to get off, so where I'm going to pick you up again. He says, well, where are you going? I say, I'm going nowhere, man, I'm homeless, I'm just sleeping on your back seat. And sometimes they say, okay, stay, and we'll just keep going, or whatever, or they say, get off, and you've got to keep touching the ticket and that stuff like that. So what I've seen is one of these times where I had to get off and touch the ticket. I've gone into the bus station in Edgware, and it's full of homeless people sleeping there. What really startled me the other night was that there was a guy there in one of those mobile, motor cars, things like that, and he was sleeping on his mobile motor car in the bus station, just for the shelter and somewhere to be where he's not going to be hustled by police. Because wherever you are, as a vagrant, you're not allowed to be. You know what I mean? And that's nonsense, complete nonsense. What keeps you smiling? Pardon?
What keeps you smiling?
Well, basically, I always have hope in myself. I've always believed, I don't know. I don't know. God keeps me smiling. The world keeps me smiling. People keep me smiling. Hope keeps me smiling. And
Would you say
beautiful
you're a
things
spiritual
keep me.
person? As in, do you derive? You say that God keeps. Do you derive a lot of solace in the thought that there's better things maybe to come?
Well, yeah, but I'm not so sure I like some of the things I'm seeing to come, because I'm also very worried about my political status or citizen statusship in this country at the moment, or in the world, because the way I'm seeing everything at the moment, it looks like a pot that's about to boil over. I'm mixed race, right? My mother's white, blonde-haired, blue eyes, and my father's like this guy's colour, black the ace of spades, right, from Jamaica, right? Yeah, so Windrush and that, right? But situation is at the moment, people, as you've seen with the Brexit vote, right? People, as the majority of the people in the country, basically are worried about the borders because of terrorism and also because of central control from the European government, right? The thing is,
the latter, for sure.
If they've elected a government which they don't trust anyway, because there's nobody there to vote for. It's a two-party country. You either Labour or the Tories. Now, to get the new Labour, the Tories jumped ship into the new Labour government for the new Labour government to be under Tony Benn. And then for the Tories to come in again, New Labour jumped and SDP into the Tory thing. So basically, it's New Labour, the Tories New Labour, and New Labour's New Tory. But none of them really actually do anything. You can't really trust any of them. There's a couple of good candidates in the government there, who are talking about things that might help people,
Homelessness. That's interesting.
Yeah, homelessness. But I'm saying the government is talking about they've got £1 billion for homeless people, you know, that they're going to spread and try to change the situation. But we're not seeing it, you know. There are some people coming out and giving people tents to sleep in, giving people sleeping bags to sleep in, but as soon as they sleep in the tents, the police are coming along and taking the tents and the sleeping bags away from them. The worst thing about that was in the middle of the winter, with the snow on the ground, police were taking tents and sleeping bags away from homeless people, you know, and not caring whether they live or die or not.
I know
there wasn't
cases
enough
where homeless, they were
shelters.
taking money from homeless, the police stealing it.
Stealing. Well, I haven't seen
in
that.
my area, stealing money
I
from
haven't
homeless.
seen that. But
Unbelievable.
I can understand in
Shocking.
some cases when you're homeless, it's happened to me before, that I had a portable television and stuff like that. Anything that you might have of technology, they may take from you, saying, how did you manage to get that? That can't be yours. You know what I mean? So you must have taken it. Especially if you've ever been in trouble with the police before, they're more likely to take anything off. Because you can't, if you don't have receipts, it's obviously you're not going to carry receipts with you, although you can do it now on the phone. You carry a receipt, but before you have loads of paper. You're not going to carry loads of paper. I'm carrying this, right? This and this is basically, you know, all that you can really carry, especially in a weather like this. You know, in the winter you have to carry a bit more because you need more heat. You know, so it's really bad. And there's no place. I mean, like in France and other places, they have a park or somewhere where homeless people can be. You know what I mean? And relax. I mean, it's like, I went to the toilet there this morning, the woman's on the toilet there, 20 pence please, right? And you're in there 2 minutes, what you doing in there? You know, I want to wash my arse, I want to wash my arms, I want to wash my head, I want to wash my bollocks, I want to wash my feet. You know what I mean? I'm not taking a full shower, but I want to get clean. You know what I mean? I might want to change my underwear, right? She gives you just enough time to have a shit, wipe your arse, and then she's asking, where you going? What you doing in there? And every toilet you go is a public toilet. So it seems like McDonald's. This is homelessness, right? You go in McDonald's, you get down, you clean the seat where someone's peed all over it, and everything, wash that, dried it up. Just about to sit on it, someone's banging on the door. Oi, hurry up in there, people are waiting, right? And what you doing? Fiddling about? You know what I'm saying? So it's very embarrassing most of the time. You have to sleep in public places. You wake up like I was on the bus sleeping, on the back seat. I woke up with all little girls and that around me going to school, you know, and they're all making videos of me there sleeping on the back seat. So you've got that. You come in the park, you sleep out there. People are all coming around you, and even if they know that you can see you're homeless or whatever, like, they're making great noises and
Brother,
coming
what would
around
you like to
and
see
taking
as
the
a
piss.
solution to the problem?
Well, I'd like to say the solution.
Specifically in this
well,
country,
I'd
what
like
would you
to
like
see
to see?
a lot of these houses that are now empty, or buildings that are empty, you know, I know several of them, office blocks and stuff like that, converted for short-term accommodation, or even long-term.
What sort of period are we talking about?
Well, a year, something like that, for them to build something more secure or better and catch up with the numbers. And I also would believe that basically they should deal with British first. Britain first, right? Britain first.
Probably not a good idea to use that
Well,
term.
no, because they were calling me a terrorist. But no, it's like, I look at my country, and this is my country at the moment, as my house. And look at the people in it as my family, right? Now, I deal with my family first. You know, I'm going to make sure that they got a bed, they got this, they got food, they got like that. And then I say to guests, come on in. You've got that spare room, you can sit on the floor, on the settee or whatever like that, you know? But first, you've got to deal with your own. And the situation is, now, the numbers of people, I would want to stay in the union, right? But the trouble is with the union is that they want to rule the country. And we don't trust the corrupt politicians that we've got now. How can we trust someone we don't even know, what we never even elected? And even if we don't want what they say, we have to have it.
Very true.
You know, we can't change what they want. So I want home rule. There's no point of electing a government if a government's rules and regulations, laws can be overrode.
Will things change for you when you, because you're very close to retirement age now?
Retirement? I'm never going to be out of
retirement.
retirement.
Will you be able to, will anything change for you when you reach that retirement age?
I'm never going to reach a retirement age. It's a fictitious
but your age,
thing for me.
It should
retirement.
be 65, right?
Well, I think it's actually probably gone to 70 now.
Not for you,
I don't even know.
Not for you, I want to think.
67, isn't it?
Yes. I don't know.
Yeah, but because when this gentleman was born, I think it will stay 65, but I could be wrong about that.
Or pensions or anything, basically. I'm thinking about trying to get out there and get a bit of money, mate. You know what I mean?
When you go into wash, they don't stop you cleaning your teeth. You've got terrific teeth for a man.
Thank you very much.
No, he's smart. He's
But
got
even
two
there,
smile.
it's difficult for me to do. I have to carry my water around me, a toothbrush all the time, and when nobody's looking, have a
You
quick
don't
brush.
smoke, obviously. You don't smoke. Huh?
I don't smoke. I did. I used to smoke. I used to buy 80 a day.
Very expensive.
Give away 60. I gave up when it was £2.50. I thought that's too expensive. But now it's like £12 a pack. And I've seen people who don't smoke now, who do smoke, who can't afford it, going around on the floor picking up dog ends and like that. And I think that's disgusting. And you get TB from that. And I don't want to be like that. You know what I mean? So at the time I gave up smoking, I gave up sex. I've been celibate for 22 years. I gave up puffing, that, dropping a, bit of snort or something like that, and drinking. So that, drinking and that, and I gave up swearing. But now I've gone back to swearing a bit because I think it's a good way of expressing yourself.
I think you're entitled.
And have a drink now and again, especially a nice lager on a hot day.
The point this fellow made about how old you are wasn't just gratuitous, because when you reach a certain age, you do get priority in terms
I would have thought so, yeah.
of being looked after by the local council. Now, you must be approaching that age.
I'm 63.
It's very close.
And basically,
So you should
they're not
be
giving me any priority at the moment. I mean, I found somebody put me in touch with some doctors because when you're homeless, I moved from my place, so the doctors said that I'm out of their thing. So basically, they can't look after me anymore. So I was without a doctor for about a year and a half, and then some guy from the thing, he came up and said, "Look, go to this doctor's in Horseferry Road, Mrs. Hickey, Dr. Hickey." And she's really, really nice. And everybody in that surgery is really nice. And basically, they talked to me really nice, they investigated me. I got some kind of thing going, that's why I've got a bit of a pod here now, not just for drinking, but I got an infection in my stomach. And basically, at the moment, it's making me want to go to the toilet all the time and stuff like that,
I haven't got any solution, nobody has got a solution. But I wouldn't give up. I would not assume that what you're suffering now, the indignities in your status now, is necessarily your status forever.
No, I never look at it like that.
Older, more things will come your way. And if you don't know, you could go on for years without recognising those things that have become available to you.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what they are. I'm only repeating. A chap was on the radio on LBC, homeless man, similar story. And he happened to say in conversation, "I'm 70. Well, the programme host didn't have the nerve to say, "Oh, well, that's terrible." But then somebody phoned up and said, "You're 70. If you're 70, you will get priority. You may not like what you're given, but you'll be given options which you can accept or turn down.
Yeah.
And if you turn them down, they will give you more options."
Well,
And
I went to
I know
Camden
somebody
Council.
in Ealing,
Yeah.
in West Ealing,
Uh-huh.
who turned down 7 options before he found what I regard as a terrific place. He complains about it all the time. But that's beside
That
the
sounds
point.
really nice. But I went to Camden Council about 2 months ago, again, and basically when I went there, I was really dismayed because there was only one woman there. There was a white woman sitting on the counter. Everybody else was from every other country, right? I thought that's a bit strange, you know what I mean? Because I was there and I spoke to her. I said, well, it was, I don't know, just handed. I was in the queue and that's who I saw. And I said, right, I'm homeless. Was evicted from, Mornington Crescent. I've been out there 2 years now. You sent me off to Willesden to try to get me out of the borough, social cleansing. When you sent me there, you arranged, you said to me, we can't rehouse you. We don't have anything in the borough, but we do have some private landlords of our, we do have a list of trusted and recommended private landlords. And we'll get one off you, we'll talk to them, we'll make a arrangement that you can meet them and talk to them, and we'll get you a flat. So I did that and I went with them. I was there about a year. The flat was basically plasterboard all the way round except for one wall. They had a restaurant behind it. They were drilling holes in it like that and taking a piece of laugh. I may have even had cameras for all I know. And the other side was the toilet, and that had a plasterboard as well with tiles on it.
So you turned it down, quite likely.
No, I never turned it down because you can't afford to turn anything, refuse it.
You can.
I didn't.
Absolutely can.
I didn't.
You can turn them down.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know. I took it because I didn't know that you can turn them down. And basically, if I can relate what happened, right? It's basically, I stayed there a year with people taking the piss out of me left, right and centre, left side. From the hairdressers, right? Every time I had a shower or went to the toilet, they would come out, there's a little courtyard about from there to there. My windowsill is there. They used to put their hot drinks or cold drinks on my windowsill when I'm in there trying to have a shit. You know what I mean? And I've got the window, and you could actually hear me, farting or whatever like that. So I had that. And whenever I went to have a shower, right, I'd come out, and the people in the hairdressers opposite, in there, I walked by and they all start giggling. Because they all heard me had a shower and everything, right? The people in the restaurant used to be giggling. Police used to park their car right in front of my thing and go in the restaurant and have kebabs and stuff. This guy had a late night, I complained to the council, had a late night license which was 24 hours, right? 24 hours license, charcoal, smoke. They had the fan right behind my bed. All the smoke was blowing in to me like this, So I couldn't sleep. 24 hours, people coming and everything. So basically, I went next door and I complained and hit me over the head with the thing as sharp as a steel with, Yeah. So that's what it was. And then I'm coming back in, and I don't know. They were like, every time I'm coming out, there were police outside arresting people, checking them out for drugs, people leaving their crack pipes on my windowsill for stuff like that. I had a load of Eastern European alcoholics sitting outside the door, drinking the things, leaving all the rubbish. People from the kebab shop dropping all their food outside the door, vermin running up and down. The first restaurant closed down because it was health and safety, had mice droppings, everything in the food, an Indian restaurant, and he had rotten tomatoes on the floor and everything like that. Used to smell his plasterboard, so it was coming into me, right? And I'm experiencing all this, right? So then the other guy came in 24 hours, he hit me on the head. Eventually he went, and the council then came and closed the place because they said it never had planning permission. The place was only a storage facility, and they made it into a flat. And then, health and safety and everything else. So they moved me to another place, which they then closed down again because when it rained, it had about that much water. And there was a Polish woman next door. I was really felt sorry for her. She brought these nice white carpets, nice white settee, and when it rained, it's in a valley, and all the water grows up all black and messed up our carpet and everything. So all the thing. She complained to the landlord. There was a Polish mafia guy. Basically, he'd subletted the property.
Brother, can I just shake your hand?
You can, bro.
Pleasure to see you.
And you, mate.
Really nice
What's
story.
your name?
James.
Right, we're the James gang.
The James gang. Very good, very good.
Cheers, mate.
Absolute best of luck, and please look into your priority situation as you get a little older.
I am all the
Because that
time.
may change.
I am all the time.
Yeah,
Basically,
please do. Please
but
do.
I'll probably manage to do it on my own, one way or the other.
You're on your own, whatever. You can look
Bless, mate. With the help and the love for the common people. You know what I mean?
What do you think is going to happen?
Actually, I'm living off their donations. As I say, I'm not on any benefits because I don't have any an address.
But where is going to end, James? Where is going to end?
Well, hopefully, when I get, what happens is I had a van with tools and everything. They nicked the van with all my tools. So I got some of my tools back. I had another van that broke down and it just smashed the windows, done the tyre, and basically took all the chrome and everything off the front of it. Now they've put a clamp on it and towed it away. So
where is going to end? Where is the
well,
hope?
basically,
The hope.
what I'm hoping is now, because this time of the year I'm supposed to be making money, I'm putting a sign on the lamppost, saying painting, decorating, gardening, concreting and stuff like
That's
that.
what you've done in the past.
Yeah, and that's how I got the tools in the van for. But they took it away from me. So they stole my tools away from me and they've left me in a situation where I'm pretty much bad. So yeah, I'm just relying on a little bit of work now and again. Brother? Oh,
James,
bless, mate.
I just hope that you're going to get
Yeah,
because it's almost like a vicious circle.
well, it is, but
This is
you know what it is. It's like
You want security. you
what
want
I'm looking for basically is the government provide the jobs that come with houses. There's a lot of jobs that come with houses. They're tired work, and I think the priority should go to the homeless people. for those particular jobs,
Okay,
because
not
they would
every-
have a house and a
Yes,
job
not every-
together.
Not every homeless person is as sober as you mentally. Many people
It's
used
true.
to be in the army,
Yeah.
walk around Charing Cross Road,
Yeah, yeah.
and there are many ex-army people.
That's right.
Due
At least
to
500 down
there's-
there.
They
Yeah.
got shell shock, they
Yeah.
got all sorts.
Yeah.
They're not looking after them, after their mental well-being.
Exactly.
Once they, come out, because physically they look 100%,
Yeah.
but nobody takes.
Well,
of their
this is
mental
what they
well-being.
say. They say unless your vulnerability is where they house you. Unless you're mentally ill or an alcoholic or a drug addict or physically impaired or mentally impaired, as I say, they won't rehouse you, right? So you have to be vulnerable. And I think this is crazy because everybody's vulnerable. As you see, you can be vulnerable and not be seen to be vulnerable and not even know you're vulnerable yourself in some cases. So a lot of them are like that. And
A lot of them
the
don't
longer
even want
they-
to be helped.
Yeah, and
They're
a lot
so
of them
far gone, they don't even want the help. They don't
because they're
understand.
frightened of the government. They're frightened of the government. They're frightened of their seat. They've been round the circuit and got hostels, waiting in there. The hostels are full of
Where they
drug
take their
addicts,
shoes,
drug
where they beat
addicts.
them up,
Yeah,
so they're refusing to go there.
they've got drug addicts. They've got alcoholics in there. You've got a room. You go in there. You start getting a few bits and pieces together. They smash the door down, come in, rob your money, rob whatever you got, go and sell it for some crack or some heroin or some booze or something like that. So basically, a lot of people don't want to be. And if you have a problem with any of the staff, they take your points off, and next time they kick you out. So you have to start all over again. And so
It's
people
almost
are
like
getting
prison.
fed up with it.
It's almost like
And
prison when you
it
become
is. And you're being
institutionalized.
punished for being homeless.
Yeah.
It's like you're in detention or being, punished like you're in
Because
prison.
somebody might
Yeah.
say, James looks okay. I
Yeah.
don't believe you see what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't believe his story. He's 63.
A lot
he's
of people, when I say I'm homeless, they say I don't believe you're
it.
homeless.
Because they say,
And
oh, look at your smile.
Yeah.
What they were
And I'm getting a
implying-
suntan for sleeping in the park.
What they were implying by saying you got a beautiful smile is like,
Yeah.
what homeless person that's been out on
Yeah.
the street, you know what they're
Yeah,
implying.
that's
don't
what I'm
believe
saying. And there's a group of cars in Camden where I am, is where I basically go back because I'm basically knocking the council on the nose because they kept moving me out of Camden to all these different places, knowing that the borough that they're going to move me was with Brent and then Barnet. It's going to close down the properties because the properties were coming from slumland landlords
It's happening
who
all
never
over,
who
yeah.
never had planning permission or health and safety or anything. They knew that. And basically, there's what I'm pissed off with and really angry with is the corruption that's going on between certain councillors and these slumland landlords. They're taking backhanders from them. Basically, they're going to special meetings like Rotary meetings or whatever like that, where they go and all meet together. These landlords who can't rent their properties out because they don't have health and safety, because they don't have planning permission and all that, they don't want to spend the money on it. They're going to meet these corrupt councillors in these meeting places and saying, well, look, I need people in my house, you've got a big pile on the housing list that you need to rehouse. If we come together on that and house them and you provide housing benefit for them when they're in there, then we're both happy, aren't we? You know what I mean? And they are, but the people who are in them aren't. Now, the company that I was with, that they gave me, with the address that they gave me, was called Minimax. Right, and in this Minimax company, which is an offshore company, offshore company, but it was the property I was living in was run by a Pakistani man, right, who was living in Bahrain. So he was making
Just
loads of
property
money out there.
investors, that's
And he had loads of them all over. And it's at one time I was working for him, painting some of his property, and every one of his properties, the tenants were under suffering. With mould and rats and slime and everything else what was going on. Toxic air I had there. My bathroom, I had a shower which basically leaked into electrical socket. So every time I had a shower, I could have been electrocuted. The guy's shower above me was leaking into my light, right? And dripping down my light bulb onto the floor, making a puddle. I could have stood in that and been electrocuted.
So what's the reply when you report evidence?
Well, I took it. I've taken it from gas smells because the gas cooker was leaking, and that was leaking in the room. The sink itself flushed out into the room. The room itself was a studio flat and everything in it, right? Had a crackhead before in there, maybe even a crack den who had a dog who basically shat all over the floor, and they just took the carpet out, threw it out, painted over everything, but they used whitewash rather than proper gloss paint or anything to seal in anything. Never washed it, and basically as soon as it's got hot, all the fumes of the rats piss, dog's piss, dog shit came up, and it was like an oil that wrapped around you, all over your clothes and everything else. So I'm walking around all over Wembley, which is where they put me, stinking of dogs shit and piss, right? And I got some infection from the water, which was polluted on my skin, and it was getting some kind of real rashes. I had some problem with my groin, and I have an infection inside now, which is what they're looking at now. I've just given them some stool samples. Basically, they're checking them out. I should learn by next week whether I've got cancer or something inside. So I don't know, what's going on there. But it's like with the NHS, they take forever to, it's like someone has to refer you onto somebody else.
Refer you to a specialist.
Yeah, that's right.
And
but
it
the
might
trouble
take
is,
a long time.
it does, and they keep cancelling, and then they put it again.
Meanwhile,
And
you
because
can
I
get
keep
worse.
moving around trying to survive, it's sort of like, it's very difficult to, what's wrong with him? It's very difficult to be on time sometimes for an appointment, because you don't know where you are on day to day. And when I'm sleeping on buses, I'm finding it sort of like, it takes me about an hour sometimes to wonder where I am. You know what I mean? But as I say, I've seen a lot of people, and I think there's a big crisis, a big epidemic's going to break out here, because a lot of people, especially coming from the camps in France, the ones who smuggled in especially, those camps are all contaminated. They're talking about the same thing in America, when the people sleeping out on the street, they're completely contaminated with all kind of diseases and mites and stuff like that. Or when they're sitting on the buses next to you, right, all these things are coming. I had a video like that, and you could see in the guy's hair all the things moving around, and the guy just sat perfectly still, like he never knew what was going on. It was natural, and you could see his whole head was moving with bugs, and you're sitting in the seat next to him. You can't tell him not to sit in the seat next to him. And and then it comes off from the seat, and you sit on that seat, and your kids sit on the seat, your wife sits on the seat, it goes home with you. So there'll be an epidemic breaking out, because you're going to meet these guys on the buses, on the tubes, you're going to meet them in queues at the supermarket and stuff like that, or even standing in the crowd there like that, right? And so there'll be an epidemic of whatever diseases are there, basically because they slipped under the barrier, and because they're not from England or whatever, they're not getting to seen by their doctors, right? So they need to be all seen and cured of the diseases, and the homeless people need to be looked at. One of the biggest things I think problems is in London at the moment, or maybe all over England, I'm not sure, is toilets, right? You go home to go to the toilet, but I don't have a toilet, right? So people maybe shit out here or something, but in the town, where are you going to shit, You might have a piss somewhere, but to go to the toilet, number two, to have a shit, it's a difficult situation. And in the whole of Camden, there wasn't a toilet, 24 hours one, unless you go to Chalk Farm, right at the end. And that one, you talk about equal rights, it says female. It says female. It's a free toilet, and there's nobody there to stop you. You just draw it open, you go in. It's one of those toilets that flush themselves. What I'm saying is, what they need to do is build showers and the toilet units that flush themselves and clean themselves, like that. So because it's a 24-hour city with travelling people, right? It's supposed to be 24. People from all over the world are coming here, and you could have them where it's got a laundrette, right? And in the laundrette you could have an internet, right? You have a clean shower.
If they don't make money out of it, they don't care.
Well, they can make money out of it, but a proper amount of money. If you've got an internet, a 24-hour internet, people are going to use it for it's a travelling city. They want documents and stuff like that. So that's going to be there. Plus, homeless people are going to be in there anyway. You have a homeless section, you have a normal section, right? But also 24-hour laundry, right? Especially travelling people, homeless people. If they do something happens, they can wash or dry their clothes if it rains, and somewhere to sit as well. Television so they can keep up to news on what's happening in the world, any terror attacks or what's going on.
I believe the world is so cold, they don't really care about homeless people.
Well, that's it.
You've been through that.
3/4 of the world is homeless, you know,
I can
and
see
they
that
don't care
really
about.
care.
Yeah.
They don't really care.
Yeah.
Whether it's in England, if they don't care about you, James,
Yeah.
why should they care about people in the so-called third world countries?
Well, this is it. I mean,
don't
you know,
care.
this is what I'm saying. A lot of people are going on about China, and I am worried about them. But they are going into countries and they are doing things. I'm disgraced by the African heads of state, the corrupt African heads of state, in this day and age, 2018, that there's no running water, electricity in some parts, and you've got shanty towns, right? It should not have been like that, you know?
I believe that it's so complex that I believe that in conspiracies that they don't want certain countries to prosper. James, sorry to say, but I believe it's
David.
systematic.
It's David.
Sorry. David, I believe it's systematic.
In some ways, it might be certainly, it might be right in some ways.
They want whether you like it or not,
Yeah.
whether I like it or not, they want Europe to change, and it's happening. If they really wanted to protect the borders, they would have done so properly.
What you're saying is a fact. In
They
fact.
would have
It
done it.
is a fact. In some countries, especially if they, are prone to jihadi stuff or whatever like that, they will isolate them. Or if it's communism like Cuba, before they isolated them and sanctioned
War
them
is business.
and held them
War
back.
is business,
Yeah.
David.
So they
War
just
is
held.
business.
Yeah. So
War
it,
is bad, as they say, war is bad business,
Yeah.
but it's good business if that's your business.
well, that's right.
That's
And,
they're
and
gonna
the,
say-
the sale of arms and weapons, military planes and stuff like that. That's what it is. In order to sell them, you have to have a war.
Yeah, of course.
Or there has to be fear of a war, or an uprising or something like that.
It's
So,
been tried
yeah.
and tested.
yeah. And so, and I'm ashamed to say that that's one of our things here in England, is which where we make a lot of money, is by the manufacturer's sale of arms, like that. And one of the other big things is insurance.
Oh yeah.
So, there's two big things there. But
I wish you the best. Dave.
I need it. I do need it. But I got a good hope things will turn out. You know?
I hope it's good.
Yeah. I don't even know if this thing's running.
No, it's not done.
Is
It's
it,
not done. But it does.
is it running? Is it running?
It's running. It's running.
Have a look. See.
It's running, David.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's me and David Hines from West Kensington over there. And now I'm here. Basically, this speaker's corner. I come up here because I'm sleeping over the back there in the park. Not every day. I sleep in different parks. I sleep on the buses, whatever. Sleep in McDonald's. I'm all over the place. But today it's more difficult to get a bit of work than it was before. Because basically, say for instance, I don't know, one country, Tottenham or whomever, has got a load of jobs, 22,000 jobs. They put them up on the market. What happens is it's on the World Wide Web. That means those 2,000 jobs are going all over the world, and basically you'll be lucky if anybody in the city where you come from or where those jobs are being advertised from is going to get one, because the people all over the world who are going to go for them jobs, the chance, and you've got to be very quick in order to get it. So,
You're a Christian.
oh yeah,
You are?
yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
And yourself? Oh yeah, I'm a Christian. Well, I am in that I believe in the name of Jesus, in the word of Jesus Christ. I'm not so sure about the actual religion and indoctrinate the church and everything else. The political side of it, the dogma and everything else. I believe in the word of Jesus Christ, and that the word of Jesus Christ is about love. Loving yourself, loving your brother, loving your neighbour, even loving your enemy. So it's a good philosophy, similar to that of Krishna or Buddha and all the rest. And they're all good guys and everything. As I say, I'm not fanatical about that religion or any religion, but I do like the word of Jesus Christ. Islam seems to be a big thing that everybody's frightened of at the moment because of terrorism and because of the Sharia law, and because it's changing our culture and our way of life, which is a very free culture and way of life. For instance, if I lived in an Islamic state, I wouldn't be able to dress like this I am now, with a naked top, you know. But the reason I got a naked top just now is not to like flex muscles and look sexy. Basically, sleeping over there, I was right in the sun, getting a bit of suntan. Basically, I'm homeless, as I just told you, and the sun is like very therapeutic for the skin and everything. I've had bad water infections and stuff like that. So basically, the sun and the sea, when we get salt water, is a cure for all things. So basically, that's what I need to do, swim in the sea. But the sun like that. So anyway, I was sweating like fuck over there. Sorry, sweating a lot over there. And so I couldn't put the t-shirt on because it's too wet. And I come over here, I saw my favourite preacher who's just left, I can't remember his name. And so I stopped to listen to him, put a bit of cold water on me, my last bit of water, and couldn't put my t-shirt on, but now I can. So I will in a minute. Now I don't know, the guy over there who all this apparatus belongs to, he's talking over there and he's just left it running. So I feel like pretty much I'm talking to myself, and who knows, I might be. So I'm going to call him over and get him to switch off now, because I don't know. I want to go around and listen to other people talking, see what they're talking about. So bye for now, good luck, see you later.
Content over everything. From your Come, man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to I. Listen.
The daughters of Canaan, God changed his mind.
No.
Said,
he said.
No, show me.
No.
Show me when God changed his mind and said, Israelites, you are now to take the daughters of Canaan as the daughters and sons as your wives and husbands. No, show me the verse. Because there is.
Years ago, you're correct, but it's 2018. So how does it apply to now?
I'll tell you why. You asked